Welcome to another episode of Compas FC. I'm Fernando Ramirez. Yes, there is only one other compa here today. That's Eddie Rodriguez. JC Cervantes is out doing the Lord's work. Eddie, is that fair to say?
It's either that or, he's a company man. So, I'm not going to disclose that guy's information.
Eddie, obviously, live from the red light district in.
No way.
So let's jump into it. Obviously, we have a full show for you guys. It'll only be us today, but that's enough to power us through another episode of Compas FC. We're gonna be talking about the Man City versus Real Madrid game, Inter Milan versus AC Milan, and then some big news coming out of the U.S. It seems like the rich keep on getting richer when it comes to youth players. And a little surprised about the MLS. What do the MLS and San Diego have in common? We'll get to that coming up soon and in this episode and more. But we got to start it off, Eddie. First leg, Real Madrid and Man City tie 1-1. A little bit of controversy, but obviously they take the tie. They go to Man City. Man City ends up thrashing Real Madrid 4-0 in Man City, and Madrid got off to an awful start. Some people are saying, "Oh, it's the reason why this happened is because Rudiger didn't start." Other people are just saying that Madrid just looked old and they didn't look like they had their legs within them.
Yeah.
I mean, I honestly, I think I'm going to give Man City more credit than I am Madrid more the blame.
Oh,
Man
for
City
sure,
were on
100%.
it. They started off the game. They ran a full blitzkrieg. They were on them. They were completely engaged as soon as the game started. Madrid usually typically start off the first 10 minutes kind of trying to feel out the other team, and then they get into a position. This game that didn't happen, Eddie. But what did you see from the game?
As like you said, a slow start, man. Like for the first 20 minutes, you could see that just Madrid were not catching up to the tempo, and City didn't let off the foot off the gas and stuff. So they just ran them over. And I felt they didn't have an answer for John Stones when he would creep into midfield and overload the top with Kevin De Bruyne and Bernardo Silva. I thought that, we briefly spoke about it. I thought that Ancelotti might make some few changes to the lineup, not specifically including Militao in, but possibly Tchouaméni for Kroos. I think a player like that, if he would have started, would have definitely helped you out. Kroos was just off pace the entire game. He couldn't get rhythm. Modric couldn't get into rhythm. Looked like Vinicius was, struggling against Walker. And Benzema was unfortunately anonymous. And that's normally not the case, right? Yeah. And let's give credit to Man City and honestly, Pep Guardiola, because I felt like Pep maybe outcoached Ancelotti this time. With that being said, we were all expecting the typical, Pep is going to overthink it and Pep is going to, throw something crazy in the lineup. We thought that Riyad Mahrez was going to start over Bernardo Silva, but Pep clearly trusts Bernardo Silva. And he rewarded him with 2 goals. I think it's unfortunate that Madrid conceded the way they did, especially seeing that Courtois was on his A game. Crazy saves, man, to deny Haaland 2 goal scoring opportunities.
Yeah, it could have been like 8-0, literally.
Yeah, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, well, Haaland didn't score." It's like, yeah, Haaland didn't score, but he did everything right. He was holding up the play. He was stretching the back line. He had a couple opportunities that, unfortunately, all in all, congratulations to Manchester City. I personally think that Ancelotti's probably going to leave this summer. I don't think he stays. As much as that might hurt a lot of people, and I know he's hurting right now, I think he's looking beyond Real Madrid and coaching at the international stage. I don't know what you think about that, but I think that's probably the right move for him. We'll see, man. But to be honest, I was a little disappointed because just the game just didn't live up to the hype. We were definitely expecting Madrid to show up and be that Madrid that shows up for Champions League nights, regardless of where they play, and that wasn't the case this time. Do you think that maybe what affected them was that they played the second leg in Manchester opposed to the Bernabeu?
I think you should be able to play wherever you can. I mean, they've
Hmm.
done it before. They've played in Chelsea. They beat Chelsea in Chelsea. They played
Yeah.
in Liverpool. I mean, the hostile environment's going to be there. I think what hurt them is some of those changes. Like I was telling Dan and Dago earlier, I'm like, you know what? In this game, I wouldn't have started Camavinga at left back. I
Mm-hmm.
would have gone with Alaba at left back, Rudiger and Militao in the middle, and
Mm-hmm.
let Rudiger handle Holland. But at the same time, I thought if you give like Alaba has or Camavinga's look good at left back, but I knew that somebody was gonna be able to do better against
Well,
him if they got a second look at
they
him.
they they expose him, and Payne's
Exactly.
gonna say it because he's
Yeah.
been playing great at left back the entire season. But
Yeah.
like I said, we got to give credit to Pep, and
And that's why I'm
Pep.
giving. Yeah, that's why I thought if somebody was going to
Yeah,
expose him, it was going to be Pep, and Pep did
yeah.
it. Like in the second leg, that's why I thought today was crucial to go with the. Even if you would have gone three in the back,
Hmm.
and maybe an extra, and maybe Camavinga. Hey, Camavinga and Valverde. Hey, we're sorry if you're going to be exhausted, but we need you guys going back and forth. Keep on coming back, help the defense out and everything. So I thought that was one of it. And like you said, I didn't Tony. The problem, everybody's like, oh well, Vinicius was in Kyle Walker's pocket. I didn't see it that way. I saw that the passes just weren't getting to him, and
Yeah.
if they were getting to him, they were overshot. They were undershot. It wasn't those regular typical pass that you see Vinicius get where he gets a head full of steam and he's able to take off and go. So that was
Hmm.
another thing. And I guess a disappointing part too is, like you said, last year Madrid were at the brink of getting eliminated. If it wasn't for Pep overthinking and taking out
Yeah.
most of his good players and kind of leaving in guys that I knew what he
Basically
did.
celebrating before the whistle.
I
That's what he was doing.
what he did was he got a big
Yeah.
head. He's like, I'm gonna throw it in Real Madrid's fans' faces,
Yeah.
and I'm gonna put in scrubs basically, and I'm just gonna laugh at them. Madrid came back and beat them last year. To be honest, City did dominate Real Madrid most of the time in both
Yeah.
legs.
Yeah.
The only thing is, at the end, they got saved. Why? Because they threw in the youth players, and the youth players were just running circles. That's what happened today, Eddie. At the end, towards the end of the game, when he started taking guys off, Madrid's youth players started stepping up, and they were able to play well. But then it was too much, and they just weren't able to put the ball in the back of the net.
It's just one
But
of those nights. They were off
yeah,
sync
exactly.
completely.
And I truly believe that what they need to do is I think what they need to do, to be honest, is they need to continue with this youth movement. I know that obviously Modric and Kroos have been incredible for the team, for the organization, but I think now next year you want to save them. You're gonna want to mix and match them. You can't have them playing every single leg, and that's why I thought like they should have maybe rested over the weekend. I think he started Kroos and he started and then Modric came in for like the last 15 minutes.
Hmm.
He played Vinicius at the end of the game, which resting or no resting, that didn't matter. It just they need to continue with the youth movement. My only question is what's going to happen with the future of this team, just because if you look at it, and I mean here, first let's go to let's hear what Ancelotti had to say after the matchup,
Yeah.
and I have a soundbite here from him, and let's see what he says.
To win because they play better than us, and so last season was different. This season they deserve to reach the final and to fight for the final. They were better than us, as we were better than them last season. I think that tonight,
And that's the truth, and that's Ancelotti honestly being
Yeah.
honest, like saying, "Hey, we like they were better than us tonight," and they were. I mean, that's just plain and simple. They were better than them. They were able to get ahead of them. They were running harder than they were, and they didn't. They
This is
just
the worst Madrid performance in recent years that I can
it was
think of.
it's even worse than that performance where they played Man City after the pandemic,
Yeah.
and they I don't know if you remember, and Varane
Yeah.
kind
I
of had two
remember when
mess ups.
Varane kind of, yeah, choked
Yeah,
on
but
that.
even
Yeah.
this performance was just lackluster. I don't know. I just I mean overall I just don't know what I don't know what I mean I don't know what's going through the players' minds or whatever, but it's just not a good look for them overall.
Just a lot of frustration all around. You seen Vinicius frustrated. There's a
Benzema
shot of him
supposedly
talking
left the
with
field pissed off.
Ancelotti. Benzema, the game finished and straight to the showers. I feel like the only one that can hold his head up high is Courtois. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Looked like he was the only one that showed up, but I feel you.
He
I
even
think
tweeted out, he's like,
Ancelotti.
he tweeted out, I'm so sorry, Madridistas, that we didn't go through.
Yeah.
I wish I could have. Oh, by the way, there was breaking news on Courtois. He has a torn tricep. He's had it since Getafe,
Best in the
and
world.
can you imagine even with that? And if I was Madrid, I would shut him down now. Let him go get a surgery for that torn tri. If he needs
Yeah,
surgery, whatever, let him shut him down.
yeah.
Go let him get that.
Mhm.
But wow, with a torn tricep, he was able to do
I
that.
had a great performance. Man, I would have loved to see Rudiger start.
Yeah,
I think Militao just based off what Rudiger did, I thought he earned it to play. Whether
he
that
was
would have
another
changed the
one, by the
outcome
way,
of the
that
game
left
or not,
angry.
we don't know that, right? We can't
Yeah,
say that, oh, they would have probably won if Rudiger started.
we
No,
don't
I
know
don't
that.
think that's the case, right? We don't know that.
Yeah,
And we don't want to diminish what Man City did because it was a masterclass. And we sat here and said that Madrid are going to show up and not allow Man City to play their game, but that's not what happened.
no,
We were wrong. That's okay. But no one expected them to beat Madrid the way they did. Maybe
yeah.
Wayne Rooney, I guess. Wayne Rooney was asked, and he said that they're gonna beat him by a lot of goals. I don't know Wayne Rooney, but
I
it's
I honestly think if and
like a
I'm not
guess
trying to make it I'm
or
not trying to make any excuses or anything, but I don't if that Kevin De Bruyne goal doesn't go in the last game, I think Madrid might have been able to get one or two more
but
off.
Madrid should have put the game to
They should have
bed
completely.
because they had
They
the
had so many
opportunity.
chances.
First leg for sure.
Yeah,
They had so many chances. You
yeah.
got to put those away
It
because,
just
like we
they
said, this is the Champions League. You slip up once or you miss several
yeah.
chances, it comes back to bite you, and
And but
that's
they've looked
exactly what happened.
so lackluster this whole like season in a sense. Like
Yeah.
they've been up and down and everything. I feel like they're gonna really need this summer rest. I mean, guys
Hmm.
are gonna be able to relax, kind of get their feedback. But real quick, this is what Luka Modric had to say after the game, and they asked him, "Do you think if Ancelotti deserves to come back?"
Yeah.
Here's what he had to say.
Deporte, a veces ganas, a veces pierdes. Hoy no hemos estado bien, ha merecido pasar y ya está. Es simple. Sí, yo creo que Mister merece seguir. Eso no tengo ninguna duda. Desde que ha llegado en su segunda etapa, ha ganado todos los títulos. Año pasado hemos tenido una temporada increíble.
Yeah.
So basically, for the folks who weren't able to see the subtitles, Luka Modric said that sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, and obviously tonight they didn't win. And then obviously he's asked, "Do you feel like Ancelotti should remain as a coach?" He said, "Yeah." He's like, "Ever since he got back, we've won all the titles." Which yeah, they have. They've won a Club World
Hmm.
Cup. They've won La Liga. They've won
Copa Rey.
Copa del Rey. Copa del Rey they hadn't won since Ancelotti's first spell with the team. And then obviously they won the Champions League. So that's what Luka Modric. And by the way, Eddie, I don't know if you saw the press conference, but Luka Modric at the beginning, they said he was wiping tears off of his face by how angered he was.
I don't
That
blame him because that was embarrassing.
yeah,
That's a Ballon d'Oro winner right there, and he's crying after the game because it's your pride, and he probably feels that he let a lot of people down, not only himself. Um, and I feel for him, and I understand what they're going through, and I'm pretty sure that locker room talk must have been, I don't know, it's just you hate to see it because the way they went out, they're better than that, and that's
yeah.
the disappointing part. That they're better than that. So
Yeah, no, and I mean, and that's the thing now, and he was asked after the game, Carlo, about if he thinks he's going to continue. He's like, I don't think this loss does anything to me. I feel like I'll be back. Like
yeah,
Eddie said, he does have the Brazilian job right there for him. Militao's come out, Rodrigo's come out, Vinicius has come out, Casamedo's come out. Other Brazilians have come out, and they've been asked point blank, do you feel like Ancelotti's the right man for Brazil? And they said, look, we're not going to get involved with this because obviously
hmm,
we're Real Madrid. Well, Casemiro's with Man U, but he still he knows about Real Madrid. But if we had him, we know that we'd be one of the best teams in the world. So obviously, Carlos does have a lot of love and respect from all these guys. Carlos, the one that's helped Vinicius unravel. He's helped other guys really come into their form. So it's going to be interesting to see if he decides to take the job or if he decides to stay at Real Madrid one more year. Part of me, Eddie, thinks that maybe that bad taste in his mouth is gonna be there,
hmm.
and maybe that makes him come back. But I could see why he would want to take the Brazil job. And with all the talent there, if he goes, and he's already solidified as one of the best managers
Yeah,
of all
no
time.
doubt.
But if this man wins a World Cup in 2026, I think it'd be him at the top, and I don't think anybody else would be around him just because of everything that he's won. If you add a World Cup to his resume, I just don't think anybody could touch him, and I feel like that's another thing that he's feeling. He has that tingling sensation of, man, if I don't take the Brazil job now, I don't think it'll be open by the time the World Cup. Maybe after this season's over. Maybe this is a once in a lifetime chance, and maybe I have to take it. So I think he's going to
He
win.
has to take it, champ. There's just no way you don't take the job.
Yeah.
I think you start the project now. 4 years from now, here in the U.S. and Canada and Mexico, you have the chance to lead. A lot of these Brazilian players are going to be in their prime.
Yeah,
a lot of them.
Vinicius, and that's the crazy part. Vinicius is coming off a 20, probably about a 26,
2020 plus.
Yeah, 2020 plus season.
Yeah.
Folks, he hasn't even nowhere near his prime. He hasn't reached it yet. Your prime is usually around 26, 27 years old. So Vinicius hasn't even touched his prime yet. So Rodrigo, Anthony, like you have so many young players coming up in that Brazil system that he could really probably he could do a lot of really good with a lot of those players.
And I think the challenge within itself is what probably excites Carlo the most, right? Being able to say that not only did you help develop a lot of these younger players and made them into stars, basically, but you took a Brazilian team that has lost its sense of pride. That connection that they have with world football, where that's Brazil. They're going to show up. It's going to be samba and joga bonito and all this and that, and maybe restoring that. And I think he's the right man for the job. And we haven't even spoken about if he doesn't take it, man. It's a real shame if he doesn't take it.
Yeah, we haven't even talked about that 16-year-old Endrick that Madrid signed. Carlo was a big part of why they signed him, and he could be one of the kids that blows up with Carlo down there. So, you're right. He would have to be, I mean, unless he really is teething and he's pissed off about what happened.
Honestly, Carlo has this love for Madrid like no other, right? I thought, when he first got hired, when he got hired the second time, he made it be known, like, I'm always going to be there if they call me and they need me, I'm packing my bags. And that's exactly what he did, right? He left the Everton job and fair play to Everton for not making a big deal about it. But how do you turn down this job?
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be tough. You have the chance to make a World Cup final. I think, that's not going to come around very often.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to take it, man.
So now, obviously, that's going to leave Madrid with the managerial opening. But another thing is, this was, and I mean, I usually these guys are pretty on point. Well, it's actually Joseph said Florentino's very angry with the image shown by the team. He did not even speak to the players. It will be an intense summer. Man, that tells me, Eddie, that Florentino might make some big changes coming up this offseason because, I mean, let's be completely honest. Like, Carvajal, bro, the dude's done. Like
that's the first name on that sheet.
Grealish
has to go, man.
He did all right against Grealish in the first leg, but this game, God Almighty, like
no, Grealish was cooking him.
He did a serviceable job the first game, but this one, he was just getting torched left and right.
Don't give him that.
But all right, then I won't. Carvajal, for all of his service that he's done in the past, I get it, but man, you need something better at right back, especially because the dude's getting burned. You have to have Valverde come all the way down and help. Rodrigo, obviously, he's not really much of a helper on defense. It has to be Fede, but with the midfield that Man City had, Fede couldn't be at every place at every time, so it was hard to get guys in there. But that's one. The other one is you have to move Camavinga back to, I think, midfield, and you need a left back.
Yeah,
obviously
100%.
There's names like Alfonso Davies. Actually, no, they did sign Fran Garcia from.
I seen that. Yeah,
that's a good signing. I think that kid's good. I think he could do some good work with Madrid. I think he'll be fine. For right back, my bad, I forgot about that. João Cancelo, why not go get him? He's there with Bayern Munich. He's gonna come back.
He's in his prime.
Yeah, get him back, and I'm sure he could do some work with with Real Madrid there, especially with all the talent that Real Madrid have. Obviously, Jude Bellingham is, according to multiple sources, is going to be signed by Madrid. Now, my question is what I think going to happen where Florentino lets bygones be bygones, picks up the phone and calls Paris and says, hey, we want this kid now. Like, give it, like, get right now. Name your price. We want him.
Florentino has too much pride for that.
Really?
He'll never do that. I think
really
Florentino has
already
he's already been disrespected, I feel like, by Mbappe and Paris Saint-Germain. I mean,
well, I still think Mbappe is going to be a Real Madrid player.
I think he'll still be there, but I don't think Florentino's going to go out of his way and beg for him, you know? I think he understood, you know what? We've got Vinicius. He's coming to his own. If you don't want to come right now, that's okay. You can come, 4 years from now, 3 years from now. You'll still be technically reaching your prime at that stage.
He's actually a free agent after. Oh, so this is the thing. He has a player option after this next season coming up.
Yeah.
So that's why some people believe that that Florentino's gonna reach out and try and get him, or say, hey, he's gonna walk for free next summer if I don't get him. So
it makes more sense for Madrid to let him walk for free than to go out of their way again a second time.
They need to sign a backup striker. They need to sign another striker because. I mean, I know Benzema's but Benzema's about to be 36 years old. You need a backup striker that's at least.
Would you sign Harry Kane? Would you sign Harry Kane?
No.
And who would you sign?
A backup.
Who's your striker? Who's your striker that you can sign realistically? You need someone that can get you at least 20 to 25 goals in the season. Who are you gonna sign?
Usam, man, if they got Usam from Napoli, that'd be crazy, but
I wouldn't put it past Papa Perez to, cook up some magic and shock the world.
Can you imagine that speed with Rodrigo, but you know what the crazy part is that I know what Florentino's hoping. Florentino wants to put on that pedestal Vinicius, Mbappe, Haaland, and Jude Bellingham and be like, look, I got all these guys. This is my team. But, I mean, I think he needs to be realistic and say, I don't think he can survive another year with Benzema starting the whole season, because we saw it in spurts he can do it. If you put him on that Ronaldo, like Ronaldo's last few years at Madrid, where you have him playing all Champions League and the crucial La Liga games, then all right. But here you've been having Benzema play even the meaningless La Liga games that he doesn't need to be playing in. You need to kind of level him out and let him play.
That goes for everyone. That goes for Modric. That goes for Kroos.
Oh, that's what I was saying. Yeah, that's what I was telling Dan also. Like, Modric and Kroos shouldn't be playing every single game. Like, this year should have been the year that Dani Ceballos started more. Tchouaméni, Camavinga, like these guys should have been starting more.
Definitely you'll see more of Tchouaméni come next season. Yeah. I think, Ancelotti gave him the Camavinga treatment, where slowly easing him in, getting him affiliated with his style of play and all that other stuff that goes into it.
He came in on Wednesday and he started banging dudes. Like, he started knocking dudes over. He was stealing the ball. He was doing some good. Like, it was just only a 10-15 minute viewing of it. But man, the dude honestly, like, he came in and he showed a little something. But it's just it's gonna be a pissed off Florentino is usually a good Florentino. So I think Real Madrid or I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna do, but he just needs to be smart, not blow the money.
He's a madman, dude. He knows what he does. When it comes to transfers, when it comes to putting Madrid in winning situations, there's no one better in the business.
I saw a picture of the 2019 transfers, and they were like, "Oh, only these guys were supposed to be good," and it was Jovic, Hazard, and they're like, and these guys, and the ones that were the signings that everybody was complaining about was Militao and Rodrigo, because they were too expensive. And look, they're the two signings that have actually worked from the 2019. But I mean, and that's the thing. These guys just need Florentino just needs to be smart, do his thing. And I know he's gonna want to open the stadium this year with Two Galactico. He's gonna want that new Galactico Empire. Jude Bellingham's already a good. Jude Bellingham's already a good step forward, because he's going to learn from Toni Kroos. He's going to learn from Luka Modric. I'm sure he'll click right away with Camavinga, with Valverde, with Tchouaméni. So it's going to be very interesting. But But yeah, Eddie, I just like we both have said, you have to give credit to Man City. They put it together. They were able to really take it to Real Madrid, and that's why they're moving forward.
I think
And there's nothing
Pep
you can really say about that.
Pep answered a lot of critics today. I will say that.
You know what's funny? I
I
thought Pep
think,
was going to tinker, like you said. I thought Pep was going to tinker and
yeah.
go Mahrez and take out Bernardo Silva.
And we're not alone. I think a lot of pundits actually from the UK were saying that. You know,
Yeah.
like Pep has this tendency of overthinking sometimes and being too much of a genius for certain moments. But I think, you know, today he answered a lot of us, and you
He's
know,
annoying when he celebrates, though. I was so
I,
after the first goal, he started celebrating. I'm like, oh god. I'm
and
like,
I'm okay with that. You know,
no, I
I'm
know he
okay
was
with that. I
passionate.
don't really care
He's in
about
front of
that.
his stadium. Yeah.
I think one thing that, you know, pains me to say it, because I'm on the Jose Mourinho camp, and you know that for sure,
Yeah.
100%. When there was that whole Pep Mourinho debate and everything, but I think, you know, Pep has really, in a sense, solidified himself as like being in that conversation. Just, you know, simply put it, as one of the best managers ever, right?
I can tell you right now that if he wins that Champions League, they're going to try and put him over everybody and put him in the GOAT
Yeah,
discussion.
I mean, you know, we talk about uh, managers that revolutionized the game and specific leagues, and at some point he did it here and there at La Liga, right, with the tiki taka ball and all that. But then he brought that style of play to the Premier League. And I think that's what's more impressive, because everyone thought that was going to fail and that wasn't going to work. And the first season that he got there, you know, they didn't win anything. Um, but you know, looking at him now, and the teams he's built, I guess you want to say. Well, I don't want to say built because they have the money to buy whoever they want, but bringing in the right personnel, I guess you can say, um, it's worked out for him.
Somebody told me today that it's not about the money that they spend; it's about his tactics and the way he puts players to succeed. I'm like, they buy
Yeah,
players
but
without even
last
having to
year
tell anybody.
he almost made it seem like Jack Grealish was going to flop at Man City.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of it comes down to the players' hard work and dedication of
By the way,
wanting that. You know,
I
so
saw a lot of Portugal fans pissed off at Bernardo Silva because they were like, "Where the hell is this when you're playing with us? Like, why aren't you like this?"
well, let's be fair, champ. I mean, who does he play with in the midfield?
No, I
Bruno's
know,
probably the only one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
You know, Portugal
By the
doesn't have
way,
that, you know, midfield.
I'm very surprised. Like, I feel like Toni Kroos and Modric could give you a full 90 and be fine after the game and everything.
Mhm.
Kevin De Bruyne was gasping for air after 75. I couldn't, like, 70, 75. Maybe, I mean, maybe he runs more of the field than they do, but like when I was watching him in one of those, he was like bent over, like gasping for air. I'm like,
My
damn,
guy,
dude.
the ball runs through him.
Yeah, no, and it does. He moves
And that's
everything.
what we
Yeah,
touched on. Remember,
yeah.
before the very first game we previewed it, I said you need to stop Kevin De Bruyne. You need to isolate these two players and have the rest of that team beat you.
And that was the problem, is that Kroos and Modric just couldn't keep up with him. And I know at times they try and
And I
put
think they
Fede on him.
focused on the
And
wrong player. They focused on
yeah,
Gundogan, and I thought that, you know, you
yeah,
want to focus on De Bruyne,
yeah. No,
and
I
that's
completely
not what
agree with
happened.
you. But Eddie, let's move on now. Obviously, Inter
Yeah.
Milan take care of business. They
Mhm.
beat AC Milan, and they head to the final against Man City. But Eddie, why couldn't, I mean, they had Rafael Leao now in this second leg.
Yeah.
Why weren't they able to take advantage of Inter and maybe tie this up? Why was Inter able to go ahead?
That's a tough one, man. It's another result no one saw coming. No one thought that Inter Milan was gonna make it all the way to the final, let alone beat AC Milan in the semifinal.
Everyone thought Napoli was going to be the one that went.
I think that line of five is what really helped them. I think, you know, Milan were unable to penetrate that back line, and that's one of the things that, you know, people are touching on after the game, saying, "Oh, well, you know, who can penetrate this back line?" Because, you know, it's a lot harder to the you know, adjust your tactics to someone that's playing with a back five than it is that someone's playing with a back four. Um, you can't create that overload that you saw today for Man City as consistently as if they were playing with a back four. But you know what really shocked me was just the way Lautaro was playing. Bastoni. I think Barella showed his class and really showed that he's a step above Tonali, perhaps. Checo out there is 37 and he's getting to a final and face his former team. Lukaku's getting to a final. Man, sleeper team for sure. I think
that dude's a tank. He comes in and he just starts.
You know what this reminds me of? Make a football reference is the New York Giants. When they went on that amazing Super Bowl run, when they went into the playoffs going in 9-7.
Yeah.
Something like that, where super underdog team, no one's expecting them to do anything or make any noise, and here they're at the big dance. It's gonna be a good game, I hope.
And the thing is that they really just Inter just held the ball. They kept on chasing after it. They kept on creating a lot of chances. From what I was seeing, and they were not letting AC get any control of the ball. So I was very impressed by Inter. I hadn't seen them play football like that in a while. Because I mean, I remember when they had God, what's his name? Dude with the mohawk, Chilean.
Who?
Chilean. He has a mohawk. He played
Gary
for
Medel?
No, he played for Bayern.
Vidal?
Vidal. There you go. I remember when he was there, and they played an okay style, but this one was like more bully ball, where they hold the like when Vidal was there, they played more of like trying to pass. It's
gonna be a physical game, and that's something that might rattle City, right?
Yeah.
You've seen it with Haaland when Rudiger was being physical with him. He shut him down the first game, right?
By the way, did you see when Haaland missed that first opportunity, the one where Courtois kind of got his hip on it and Alaba nailed it out? Like Haaland just like I hadn't seen him scream like that. Like I thought he was trying to turn Super Saiyan or something, but he like gets all mad and he starts like throwing a tantrum, and I'm like, dude, that you can tell that's the frustration of the last week against Madrid, and obviously the beginning of this week where he just couldn't get anything going.
He's a goal scorer champ, and
no, he's the dude's a monster.
And that's it's just one way of him letting his frustrations out. I don't necessarily see that as a bad thing. I think certain players motivate themselves. Cristiano Ronaldo was the same at times where you see him throw his hands up in the air and maybe people got the bad image of him, like, oh, he's a bad teammate. Look at him. Then like, no, like the guy's motivating himself. Like, I can do better. I should be doing better. And I think that's what Haaland was doing.
Oh no, I didn't mean it as a negative. I just meant like, oh, come on, like, I want to see that, like when a basketball player is like not hitting threes and like finally they usually just see the ball go through the hoop and then you can turn it on. I felt like that was something similar to this.
But I think the back five is going to cause Man City a lot of problems because you have Dumfries on the right. And then sometimes you see Darmian sliding in with him, and there's going to be a lot more build-up play coming from the wings, from the wing backs, which maybe will force City to, not overload as much.
How impressed? I mean, before we're going to get to that Man City Inter talk a little bit, but how has it impressed you the run that Inter's been on? Like, I know you said you compared them to the Giants, but just can you tell how impressive it is to see them? Go from, I mean, like we said, like I just said right now, Napoli was a team seen as a team that was going to represent all like basically the Italian teams in the final, and then it's AC Milan versus Inter. Ace is going to handle them, and now it's Inter on their way to the final.
You gotta be impressed with Inzaghi, whatever he's done to have these guys playing the way they have been. Props to him, but also Lautaro, has carried a lot of the load. They've taken a lot of rejects from different clubs, like from Manchester United, for example. They have Lukaku, who's also a Chelsea reject, Lukaku, Darmian, and Mkhitaryan, and found the roles for them. So that's not an easy thing to do. You can't take players like that from clubs where they didn't succeed or they didn't meet expectations, and then just revamp them, just like that. So a lot of credit has to go to Inzaghi. But what's really impressed me is someone like Bastoni coming into his own. The guy can play left back. The guy can play center back. I think if you're an Italian fan, that's definitely one of the names that, stands out the most to you when it comes to, some of your greats retiring from the game, like Bonucci. You no longer have Chiellini. That's a name out there that, for future generations to come, Bastoni's going to be there as, I guess, the anchor for the Italian defense, right? And then you have other players like Barella, who's shown his class. He's a box-to-box midfielder. He can do the dirty work, but he can also score. So there's a lot of things to be excited about if you're an Inter fan, because you have a base of players that you can build upon. Um, so we all expected more from AC. Really, they didn't deliver.
If I know Rafael Leao just signed an extension with
Yeah.
AC, but teams can still come after him, right?
Yeah, teams can still come after him. He has a 175 million release clause.
How hard do you think that's going to be for AC to kind of
I don't
hold it
think it's
off?
going to be necessarily hard for them to keep him another 2 to 3 years. I think Leao's happy at AC, and I think he's enjoyed his football there. And maybe he wanted to give them back some of that loyalty they put in him and that faith they put in him by resigning that contract. He did have the option of, hey, someone comes in for me, you got to let me go. But it's good for him. I think not only is it good for AC Milan and Leao, but it's also good for Serie A. You want to keep these players in the league to consistently make your league more competitive. That's why I would hate for Osimhen to leave, even if that's what it's looking like. I would love for Osimhen to stay at Napoli, Leao, AC. Juventus really needs somebody to get in there and bring back the enthusiasm there. Because it's definitely not Paul Pogba, I'll tell you that.
How hard is it going to be for Osimhen to stay at Napoli?
And the owner's not looking to sell, and the owner has money, not concerned about it. But if someone comes in with $110 million bid, you need to entertain it. There's just no way, right? If the owner has bigger aspirations than just winning one league title in 27 years and wants to go at it and possibly repeat and make a deeper run into the Champions League like they did this year, you need to keep them. I think there's other players that are more expendable, like a Chucky Lozano.
El Chucky Lozano.
Maybe, I would want to see it, but maybe you get rid of Di Lorenzo. He can bring you good money. But again, I just, you want to keep these players. If you're Serie A, and you're the one running it,
You're up and coming, basically, too.
You should be telling everyone, hey, like, there's a chance for this league to not only grow, in Europe and be respected again, but internationally as well.
Especially if Inter pull off the upset against Man City, man.
Yeah.
They're going to be back in it. But Eddie, what does Inter need to do to pull off this upset? And could they?
Certainly. I mean, anyone can do anything in sports, right? I don't think we're, naive enough to say that, they have no chance. Absolutely they can. We've seen
and
it.
Keep in mind, my bad, real quick. And keep in mind, Man City play against Manchester United a week before the Champions League final in the FA Cup final against Manchester United. So there's going to be they're going to have. It's not like they're going to have a couple of weeks off and then play the final. No, it's going to be.
Certainly, there's a chance, right? One of the most recent underdogs that I can think of is that 2005 Liverpool team that were down 3-0 in Istanbul, the game of it, one of the most famous Champions League games ever, down 3-0 against a stacked AC Milan team. And they came back and won it, right? So it's definitely doable. It's definitely possible. I think Inter just needs to keep playing the way they're playing and trust themselves that they belong in the final. Not that they got lucky, not that they had, an easier path than others. They need to believe that their football got them there. They can match up with anybody. They have the skills. They have the players. And man, you gotta leave everything on that pitch. You can't leave and walk away on that pitch full of regrets. You gotta lay it all on the line, champ. If you're injured, these are the type of games where you gotta find ways to get on that pitch.
Yeah, and I mean, and the thing is that we know how Italian teams are. They're aggressive. It's going to be interesting to watch how aggressive they're going to be when it comes to facing these guys. But man, it's going to be. I think it's going to be a solid game. I think it's going to be full of fireworks. I don't think it's going to be a blowout or anything because honestly, I feel like we and JC has said this multiple times that this Champions League hasn't been like past ones, like last year with Real Madrid, where it was like a comeback here, there. It was exciting. It had you at the edge of your seat. I feel like this final may be the game that has you at the edge of your seat and you're waiting for a final goal or or something like that. So
I think the Europa League has had more juice this year,
it really has.
and
Yeah.
honestly, with that being said, compliments to UEFA because that was something that was laughed at a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
And then even the
The- the-
Conference League had some great games. So you can definitely tell that the level of play is going up everywhere, and that's a
yeah.
good thing.
No, and I mean, obviously, you have a lot of really good teams down in the Europa League. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, they definitely outperformed UA or Champions League when it comes to fun and excitement. But I think this final might be the fun and excitement that fans have been looking for.
Let's hope so, man.
Yeah, but Eddie, obviously a big deal today was or in the last couple of hours has been Folarin Balogun. I hope I'm not butchering his name.
Nigerians out there, we're sorry for the butcher in there.
I did butcher it.
Yeah, well, I'm a butcher it too. So let us know in the comments. If,
Yeah,
I was supposed
but
to say this.
so he was supposed to go with Nigeria. He ends up not going. He said, "I'm going to choose the U.S." And now the U.S. look like they have a striker. I think he's the backup striker for Arsenal, if I'm not
No,
mistaken.
he's a striker for Stade Rheims, or I butchered that too. Some League One team. He's on loan.
Yeah. He's on loan.
Yeah.
But just how big is this for? I mean, the U.S. We already know. Like the U.S. is getting he's at Stade Reims. He's
If
a
I'm not
forward.
mistaken, he has 17 or 18 goals this season or something like that. Whatever the case is, this is a striker.
Oh, he
The
was in
US.
England. Okay, so he was in England youth
Right.
squad
So
player.
he got the call up to go to the England under 21s. And Gareth
Okay.
Southgate has made it, his mission in a sense of not allowing, after this Musiala debacle that happened, where he chose Germany over England. Southgate made it a priority where he's trying to keep the talent, right? And that was part of it, calling him up to the under 21s. And the kid chose to represent the US.
Okay, so
And
my bad. He is at Arsenal. He's at Reims as on loan.
yeah,
So he was at Middlesbrough at the beginning part of this season, and then they sent him to Reims, or at the
yeah.
last part of last season, and they sent him to Reims. But he has 19 goals
Wow.
with them, so he has been on a tear. It's a French team, obviously,
He's
but
tearing it up over the league on. So
he scored against PSG. He
yeah.
scored against Marseille. He scored against a lot of really good teams out there.
So it's big news because the U.S. didn't have that focal point in the World Cup. It's a shame they didn't take Ricardo Pepi. We spoke about that right before the World
Yeah.
Cup. I think Ricardo Pepi has done enough work to have earned that starting spot for the U.S. men's national team. But now you got this guy here that will be able to compete with Pepi. I feel like to be that starter and be that number 9 that the U.S. has been missing since Clint Dempsey. Let's be honest. Deuce was the last, goal scorer they had. So these are exciting times if you're a U.S. fan. If he can get the call up for these upcoming fixtures coming up next month and for the Gold Cup, the kid has talent. Plain and simple. I think the kid's a baller. Sky's the limit. If he continues to perform the way he's performing now, perhaps his future lies outside of Arsenal, because Arsenal right now they have Gabriel Jesus. It's going to be real hard for him to compete for that position with him. They still have Nketiah out there, so. But great news for the U.S., man. Great news.
Yeah.
We're talking about young players that are killing it in Europe. This is one of them. You have Santi Jimenez on the other side. If you're a Mexico fan, he's also killing it. Just won the Dutch league over there. So
I don't think the Mexican Federation knows who that is because they don't call him up.
You telling me?
So if people are wondering why he was able to do all this like hoopla or whatever, he's his parents are Nigerian, but he was born in the United States, but he was raised in England because at 8 years old, Arsenal signed him to their league, at 8 years old, and they took him over to Arsenal. So he has been there that long that he was able to become England. Like he could play for the English team, he could play for the Nigerian team, or he could play for the U.S. team, and he decided to go with the U.S. So man, they're just, the rich get richer, as I'm saying. Eddie, now what's going to be crucial is finding a manager that can really put this talent out there and make this talent go, because if you don't have the right manager, then this can all come crashing down. So
and
they need a manager that
someone's name out there, and if it's not Greg Berhalter, which is looking like it's no longer going to be him, Thierry Henry.
Well, I mean, you know why it's not going to be Berhalter.
Well, I know why he's not going to be Berhalter,
because the benchwarming champion in Chelsea is making sure that he doesn't come back. So.
Don't disrespect Captain America like that. Don't do that.
Oh wait, my bad. It wasn't him. It was Reina. The beef is with Reina. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah,
it wasn't. It wasn't. I don't know why I was blaming.
Don't disrespect Captain America like that.
Yeah, that guy's whatever.
Don't do that.
He's doing a good job. He's doing a great job in the position that he has to be in. So he's playing left bench right now. He's doing
the LeBron James of soccer guy. Get it right.
Eddie, real quick, 2 last things before we head out of here. But
yeah,
the MLS is coming to San Diego. Eddie. I know, it's incredible. It's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. They already have the wave out here. This is another thing too, and I'm interested to see. Obviously, the wave made. God, I was about to make a pun, and I'm going to do it just because I already caught myself. The wave made a huge wave by signing Alex Morgan. Now I want to see what this MLS team still hasn't come here yet, but I want to see who their big signing is going to be. But on Thursday, they will have a press conference to announce it. They're the 30th team in the MLS. As of right now, from everything I've been hearing, the MLS will now freeze everything. There's not going to be another expansion for a while. I know Las Vegas was wanting a team. There's other people that have been wanting teams, but for right now, they're going to keep it at 30 and see what they do from there. But San Diego got the last team, so now they have an MLS team, a women's team, and the Padres. So that's 3 pretty big teams for the city of San Diego. Obviously, they're going to want to add more. Maybe the Clippers will come down and play here and become the
we're not gonna discredit the San Diego Soccer's legendary futsal team.
Yeah,
they've
been champions.
You know, the goals.
But the goals aren't. They're not in the NHL though.
I know, but I'm just saying, like,
No, I know, and they're good teams. They're a lot of fun too. I remember going to goals games when I was a kid. I remember you used to have to write a book report, and if you wrote a 1-page essay on a book that you were reading, you'd get free tickets to the goals game. So
cool.
I remember.
I mean, this is huge for the city, right? I think San Diego's finally being recognized that it's more than just a tourist attraction where Comic-Con's held here every year, and that's what we're known for, right? I think, or SeaWorld, I guess.
And the Padres ain't helping. The Padres ain't helping anything right now either. So
they'll get it together. I'm not worried about that. But listen, we tried a couple years back with Soccer City. That initiative fell through. And gave way to Snapdragon Stadium for San Diego State and the Aztecs and the Wave, and now we have the opportunity to really bring what I think a lot of people have been asking for a lot of years, and that's a professional soccer team. And what makes me more excited is the fact that there's going to be chances that we'll be able to see teams from Liga MX come play here.
A certain individual down south had something to do with this, because all I've been hearing is that
has to, right?
The Cholos want to be playing more in the U.S. They want to put them more in the U.S.
Yeah,
they want them to do more with the U.S. So you have to.
The market is here, man. Yeah. The market is here. There's so much talent in San Diego. Not only I have no doubt in my mind that you'll see at least a few players born in San Diego, play in San Diego, and be able to play for this MLS team. There's no doubt in my mind about that. Or Tijuana for that case,
Folks, Man City played Manchester United at 4 a.m. Eddie, Dan, and Diego and myself went to a bar at 4 a.m. Obviously didn't consume any alcohol. It was just we just had breakfast there. But but we went to a bar, and the bar was basically packed, wasn't it? Like when the World Cup games were going on, Eddie and I, or sometimes Eddie and Dan and Dago and I, we would go to these places at 5 a.m, and it was packed. Like people were wanting to watch soccer.
And you know me, I've been doing that for a while now, where I would go to watch Premier League games.
Yeah.
And some of these games were sometimes at 5 a.m, 6 a.m, and you'd get there and you're like, man, am I crazy? Like, am I gonna be the only one here? What are they not even open? And no, man, the fans are here, and soccer has been one of the, I guess, biggest sports for a while now here in San Diego. They've just been lacking the soccer team.
Yeah.
And the Waves brought some of that enthusiasm to the fans. So did the San Diego Loyal. The Soccers have been doing this for years. But, now having a men's soccer team here, sky's the limit now. So we're excited for that. 100%.
So give me one name that could maybe match the Alex Morgan signing.
Man, that's tough.
By the way, they're starting to say that your boy might be coming to the MLS.
Ooh.
Christian Pulisic, that there's not, like, now they've been talking and they're like, there's nothing wrong if he comes to the MLS.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'll be honest. There's nothing wrong with that. If the kid wants to come and play in the MLS, there's nothing wrong with that. He's already won a Champions League.
But he should be out there trying to. There has to be a team that he can go to that will let him play, let him grow. Like, he just had bad luck, and I hope he chooses his teams the next team wisely, and he doesn't think, oh, it's because of the crest I want to go. Like, if he goes to, like, Barcelona or something, like, dude, why don't you just go to Nottingham Forest or somewhere where you're gonna play?
I'm gonna throw something real unorthodox here as to who could be that splash signing, and I don't know if a lot of people are gonna like this. Irving Lozano could become the face of the franchise here.
It'd be huge. He would be. Can you imagine every game like they'd be chanting "El Chucky Lozano"?
Not only that, but
you're gonna get people from TJ, from LA.
He's got the profile of a Mexican superstar, right?
Yeah.
He's already won that league title at Napoli. Let's say the team takes 2 to 3 years to build itself, right, and actually establish and be here. Why not? The guy's gonna be what, 32 maybe.
Oh no, wouldn't he be like 29, 30?
Whatever it is, right? I think that's the perfect signing. It resonates with those in Tijuana and south of the border, and it resonates with a lot of Latinos here in San Diego. So why not bring someone like that?
I hope the colors of his jerseys are nice. I hope it's not any BS. Like,
Nike, you really dropped the ball there with the Padres gear.
Don't fool around.
With a City Connect, you could have done a lot better than do something like that. But that's just me.
Yeah.
What's the team name? What's the team name going to be? That's
don't fool
question,
around,
right?
Don't fool around with that either. Don't fool around with that. But Eddie, I've been waiting for this all afternoon.
Oh yeah, you got a question from Super Dan?
No. I got something for you that I've been waiting for all day. And a TikToker is gonna rebuild your squad.
Nah, man, don't do
Are
this
you ready?
To me. I don't even have TikTok.
Oh, don't worry about this. A TikToker is gonna she's gonna build your squad. Let's go through this.
Let's hear it.
Let's hear it. Yeah. That's the enthusiasm I wanted to hear, Eddie. There you go. Let's see what she says.
Here's who I'd sign and sell at Manchester United next season. Starting by Tellez Williams, they'll probably raise about 15 million. Maguire, Dean Henderson, McTominay, I reckon we could get 25 million each for them. And unfortunately, I don't actually want to sell these guys, but I'm going to sell Sancho and Donny van der Beek just for that extra bit of money. Because reportedly, United can only have a net spend of around 120 million. Now, sign is where it gets interesting. United need a goalkeeper. Diogo Costa's a bit expensive, so I'm going to go with David Raya, about 35, 40 million, Premier League proven. Centre back, we've been linked with Kim Min-jae, 40 million release clause. Let's go for it. Midfield, and this would actually be my first choice signing, even though striker is on our one priority, and that would be Moises Caicedo. I'd break the bank. I'd spend like 80 million.
I wouldn't do that.
Control games more. He could be back up to Casemiro. He can play alongside Casemiro. He could even play right back. He's just a baller. Also being reported at 20 million euros, I'd go for Enzo Laffi. Could help with that creativity issue. Just such a bargain too. I think it's worth the risk. And lastly, striker, probably the most important position. I think Harry Kane would have that Robin van Persie impact. And I think Victor Osimhen would be brilliant, but I think they're going to be a bit more expensive, and I don't know if we have the budget for that. So I'd go with Gonzalo Ramos of Benfica.
Yeah, no. I mean, she got a lot of the right. I'll give her that. A lot of the players that she said that Manchester United need to sell, spot on. I think everyone except Sancho. I think
Yeah,
the
that one
upside
to
was
me, I think you're
still
giving
there.
up too quickly.
I like that she said, David Raya. I think he's, a proven goalkeeper in the Premier League. Has been balling out for quite some time now. Great with his feet, shot stopper, Spanish international.
God, why can't JC be here right now?
No problem with that. Gonzalo Ramos, come on. If you're talking about someone not being expensive, Benfica's gonna want an arm and a leg for this guy. So
Benfica's been making so much
and
money off of all these teams.
highway robbery, Rui Costa every year he just finds a new player and is just licking his chops like.
If he's 80, then what the hell? What do you think they're gonna want for Harry Kane? What do you think he's at?
Quite honestly, I think Harry Kane.
I think he'll come at 80, 85.
Man, I think if you're Harry Kane, you're gonna want to. You got to make this move now, right? You have to force Spurs to let you go and let you go cheaply. And I don't know if Daniel Levy's gonna do that, regardless of whatever loyalty Harry Kane has shown to the club, right? Because after all, it is a business, and that's unfortunate I say that, but that's the case. If you don't get someone like Harry Kane, and you don't get someone like Osimhen, then realistically, what are your options? If you look on the market right now, and you think about bringing in a striker from Manchester United, there's not many options there. And the option I like just got suspended for 8 months, and Ivan Toney.
Yeah.
Which I think is ludicrous and completely stupid, but whatever. I don't work for the FA, right?
And that's happening in the NFL too. Like you saw, Calvin Ridley got suspended for a whole year for betting. Some Detroit Lions got
ridiculous.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
they're not even betting on their own teams; they're betting on other things.
Yeah, it's stupid. Caicedo, yeah, he's a baller. Are you gonna spend 80, 90 million on him? No, no, you're not doing that.
And she said she's willing to break the bank for him too.
No, she got a lot of things right as far as like who needs to leave, but as who has to come in, I think she got a lot of those wrong. That's just my opinion, right? That's her opinion, and we'll respect it. But
Yeah,
honestly,
I mean,
I don't necessarily think that you bring in a player like him to sub for Casemiro. Like you're not buying someone for 90 million so you can sub him on here and there. It's a luxury, right? And that's the problem we have with Sancho right now. We bought him for X amount of money. I can't even make the squad. So I think Ten Hag definitely knows that one of the priorities is to bring in another center back, is to bring in another center midfielder, possibly bring in another goalkeeper to compete with De Gea. I think you're resigning De Gea, even if he's no longer your number one. I think he'll be a great deputy. He'll be a great number two at that if you don't want to start him anymore. But you definitely need that striker, man, because I love Weghorst and what he's done, and every time he plays, he shows heart and on all that. But it's about goals at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And Martial can be that guy, but we're no longer going to wait for that.
And you guys are losing some of these games.
5 years waiting for this guy to. We're losing these games by one goal or
1-0,
whatever. Because
yeah.
No one there to put the ball behind, back of the net.
Yeah.
Rashford can't do everything. Sorry, JC.
Yeah.
Bruno can't do everything. Sorry, JC. Outside of those two guys, who else is realistically scoring goals for Manchester United?
Yeah, no.
Come on, man.
Yeah, Anthony still does some ridiculous stuff, so I'm sure he's not
Anthony, you know what? Anthony reminds me a lot of, I hate to say this, but he reminds me a lot of Nani. And when Nani was at Manchester United, he'll score some screamers.
I remember.
The guy was a baller, had all
it was Wayne Rooney, Chicharito, and Nani.
Had all the flicks and tricks, but just, never took that extra step.
Yep.
To go from that guy's a baller to no, that guy's the real deal, So
yeah.
Oh man. We'll see what Ten Hag cooks up. This all depends on what happens with the club moving forward, if the Glazers are selling it or not, and clearing the debts and all that kind of stuff. So Oh yeah. My phone's been blowing up, champ. Well, you want me to tell you?
That's Batman right there. But we appreciate you guys so much for checking out yet another episode of Compas FC. Eddie and I were able to hold it down today. Hopefully we got JC back next week. But again, don't forget to check out everything on Compas on the Beat network, compasonthebeatmerch.com, compasonthebeat.com. Don't forget to check out this week's Compas on the Beat regular episode. I get into why I've liked the Fast and Furious franchise and and why honestly, if you guys are expecting brilliance, that's not why you should be going to this movie. If you're expecting just a crapshoot, that's why I go. I like the crapshoot. I like letting my brain just relax for a couple hours. This is the perfect
like
movie.
Thinking Vin Diesel's gonna save the world. That's what you like.
Hey, he's facing Thanos every single movie. But don't forget to check out that. And then Gilbert and I, hey, there's 4 teams that didn't get any primetime games this year. Was that fair or foul? We get into that. And then obviously what we thought about the schedule release this week. So that's going to be some good stuff. Don't forget to check out What's Up Bolts. Dan and Dago and I had a surprise guest, Jeff Miller from the LA Times. Dan and Dago went crazy when he saw Jeff. We broke down the Chargers schedule, got into some of the games, the nitty gritty of it. What's Up Bolts has you, or House of Horns has you covered on all things Rams. And Combat Compas, don't forget to check that out. Gilbert and I have some good stuff planned for that this upcoming summer. We got some cool guests lined up, so don't forget to be on the lookout for that. But we appreciate you guys so much for checking out another episode of Compas FC. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. We appreciate you guys so much. Don't forget to be a compa, tell a compa. Thank you guys so much.